And yet, motherhood is just an analogy for nurturing. So whether you want to mother your plants or your pets or the people in your life, but for me, that's how I've learned it, is that when I'm not taking time to heal my emotions, to really acknowledge myself, to validate how I'm feeling, then I call it the monster. The monster comes out, and I'm not even able to be present with my children, the people that I love the most in my entire life. So how could I be present with people that are outside of that circle? And when I am kinder to myself, gentler to myself, when I practice self-compassion, and I'm there feeling my feelings and healing from them, then I can be that for somebody else. You literally, it sounds like very simple, but I read the Bible and it's just like, love yourself and love others, because you can't love others as you love yourself if there's no love for you. And so that every philosophy has a version of that. And neuroscience now proves the same thing, that when you are actually, present with whatever is going on with you, there are parts of your brain that light up that allow you to be more creative, to have more confidence, and to make more of a contribution. So all areas of life, and no matter where you lean in, are telling us that we need to embrace ourselves as both the body that we wear and the spirit that we are, do the work, and then we'll be present with other people, because as we, and that's the practice. Yeah. That's why learning is a practice. That's why I want to learn so much about, my reactions, my biases, my triggers, and my motivations, so that I can be a better human for myself and for the people in my life.
So there's two things about that. I love everything you're saying, firstly. And I know people say that all the time on podcasts, but I mean it. I think what you're saying is so deep and important. But there's two things about that I think are super interesting and worth diving into. One is, and they're related. One is, it's so easy, I think, for people to hear what you're saying and take that advice, because in many ways we're saying love yourself first, right? You have to do that to be able to love others. But that risk of like self-centeredness and selfishness, which is like the other side of that coin, which is the exact opposite effect, where then we're not there for others. We're not embracing humanity and loving and all that. It would seem as if for some people, myself very much included at times, there's such a thin line between loving myself and becoming selfish and worrying only about myself. How do you navigate that? Because I think a lot of people probably struggle where they might think like, oh no, I'm loving myself, I'm doing it for me, but they're hurting other people as they do it. How do you think about that aspect of it?
I think it's really something that is a practice, and because you can always go in either direction. It could be selfishness, it could be sacrifice, and neither of those are service. And so for me, I think about what's the loving thing, and the loving thing won't hurt anyone. Love is truly, an energy of people are feeling served. There's service for humanity. So there's an exchange and a contribution. Love is never going to ask for something that is going to be hurtful, that is going to be, feel like pressure, that is going to rush somebody, that is going to deplete people. So, again, that requires a pause, which is why this practice of pausing every day, and it doesn't have to even be meditation, although that if you do that, congratulations, but it's just self-reflection in which, you think, what was the loving thing to do? And actually, at night, having a do-over and thinking, was that the loving thing to do? And not from a place of blame or shame, because, pain on pain doesn't work. From a place of, wow, I have the opportunity, again, learning, studying, I have the opportunity to do it differently next time. So if I get another day of life, because I am the morbid person, because I've literally
Given
have
what you've
been
been
dealing,
through,
yeah. But if I get another day of life, I have the opportunity to probably do that differently. And that is how we, kind of go a little bit more on the degree of self-love, because I've done it in every way, in which I become a doormat because I wanted to love others. And then, we go to the other side because I want to, my self-preservation is now, at jeopardy. So we want to every day do that. And one practice that just came up, I don't even think it's related, but something that just came up to my heart right now is that I always ask my kids, do you feel loved? That's the measure of everything. And so I think that putting love at the center, and also, checking in with the people that matter to you. And I think everybody matters, but I'm talking about the sacred circle in your life, and checking in. Sometimes we do things motivated by love. Like maybe I'm here in this office, for 12 hours and thinking that this is the loving thing to do for my children. And I could be blindsided by that. But we have conversations in which how would you feel more loved? And of course, I know their love language and everything like that, but it's just having that conversation. If you don't want to be selfish, then ask the question, dare to ask the question, like, did you think that was selfish? And just get feedback, because the answers are inside of us, but we are one. So asking and checking in with each other, I think it's really important, because we may be doing something with the motivation to love and it's not being received in the same way. So definitely, self-reflection and just contemplation, and also getting that feedback to make sure that what you're doing it's landing
the
the
way
way
you want it to be.
Yeah.
Well, and I think what you're saying in that too is such an important piece of it. That word love is such an important word in this, and tying it back to the self-love for a second. I think I'm probably guilty of this. Sometimes people think self-love means just treating yourself amazingly and positive and pleasure. But I think as you're articulating it, love is much more complex than that. Love sometimes is challenging yourself and reflecting and saying, did I do that right? Could I have been better? It's doing the work to figure out, like, what are the insecurities I have? What are the biases? That's love too. It's not always, it doesn't always feel good. I mean,